One day, a friend of mine who lives by Buddhist principles shared with me a secret that changed the way I thought about saving money. And today, I'm going to share that secret with you. You see, we're all caught up in this endless cycle of chasing money, aren't we? We work hard, try to save a little, but somehow it never seems to be enough. It's like we're on this hamster wheel, running faster and faster, but never really getting anywhere. Sound familiar? But here's the thing. The Buddhists, they've got a different approach. They believe that the key to financial stability and inner peace is all about balance. It's not about rejecting money altogether, but about using it in a way that doesn't control your life. Are you ready to learn the Buddhist secret to saving money? All right, let's talk about the core principles of Buddhism when it comes to managing your money. You know, the Buddhists have this concept called Ziji, which is all about having this unshakable confidence in yourself. It's not about ego or arrogance, but about trusting in your own abilities and potential. And when you apply that to your finances, it means looking at money as a tool, not as the end-all, be-all of your existence. To be honest, the Buddha was all about finding balance in life, and that includes your relationship with money. He taught about these 4 types of happiness related to wealth. There's the happiness that comes from owning stuff, the joy of earning your money ethically, the peace of mind that comes from living debt-free, and the fulfillment of sharing your wealth with others. When you focus on these different aspects, it helps you create a healthier, more balanced approach to money. Let me tell you, the Buddhists have some pretty practical advice when it comes to handling your finances. They emphasize the importance of ethical earnings, which means making sure your money comes from honest, non-harmful sources. They also encourage living debt-free whenever possible, because let's face it, debt can be a huge source of stress and anxiety. Yet here's the kicker. They believe in sharing your wealth with others, whether it's through charitable donations, helping out family and friends, or investing in your community. Sharing what you have is a key part of the Buddhist money mindset. You see, when you embrace these core principles, it can totally transform the way you think about and handle money. It's not about hoarding every penny or constantly stressing about your bank balance. It's about using money as a means to live a more balanced, fulfilling life. And the best part? These principles are timeless. They worked for the Buddhists thousands of years ago, and they can still work for us today, even in our fast-paced, money-driven world. But here's the really cool thing. The Buddhists didn't just talk the talk, they walked the walk. They had all these amazing practical strategies for saving money and using it wisely, from setting aside funds for emergencies to simplifying their lives and avoiding unnecessary purchases. They knew how to make the most of what they had. And you won't believe how they used the power of community and generosity to reduce their expenses and create a safety net for themselves and others. So, you want to know how the Buddhists actually put these money-saving principles into practice? Let me tell you. They've got some pretty clever techniques up their sleeves. Take the Sogalovada Sutra, for example. It's this ancient Buddhist text that gives some seriously practical advice about managing your money. It talks about setting aside funds for different purposes, like taking care of your immediate needs, growing your business, and even saving for emergencies. I mean, how smart is that? By having specific money buckets, you can make sure you're covering all your bases, and not just blowing your cash on impulse buys. But here's the thing, the Buddhists are all about simplicity. They believe in cutting out the fluff and focusing on what really matters. So when it comes to saving money, they're big on avoiding unnecessary purchases. You know, those little things that add up over time, like your daily latte or that trendy gadget you just had to have. By being mindful of their spending and sticking to the essentials, Buddhists are able to save a ton of money in the long run. And you won't believe how much they leverage the power of community and generosity. You see, when you're part of a tight-knit group that looks out for each other, it can make a huge difference in your financial life. Buddhists are all about sharing their resources and wealth, whether it's through communal living arrangements, potluck meals, or even just lending a helping hand when someone's in need. By pooling their resources and supporting each other, they're able to seriously reduce their individual expenses. I'll never forget this one story I heard about a group of Buddhist monks who lived together in a monastery. They had this incredible system where they grew their own food, shared all their possessions, and even took turns cooking and cleaning for each other. By living so simply and cooperatively, they were able to keep their costs to a bare minimum and focus on their spiritual practice. Talk about money goals, am I right? But here's the crazy part. These ancient Buddhist money-saving techniques are still totally relevant today, even for us modern folks living in the fast-paced, consumer-driven world. I mean, just imagine how much money you could save if you adopted some of these practices in your own life. What if you started a money bucket system to make sure you're saving for the things that really matter? Or what if you challenged yourself to a no-spend month where you only bought the absolute essentials? The possibilities are endless. But you know what's even more exciting? The way these Buddhist principles can totally transform your relationship with money. When you start seeing money as a tool for living a balanced, meaningful life rather than the ultimate goal, it can be a total game changer. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into next. You know, it's easy to think that these ancient Buddhist money secrets are just something from the past. But let me tell you, they're more relevant than ever in today's world. I mean, just think about all the financial challenges we face as young professionals. Student loans, high rent, the pressure to keep up with the latest trends. It can be overwhelming, right? But here's where the Buddhist teachings can really come in handy. By adopting a more minimalist lifestyle and focusing on ethical earning, we could actually reduce our living costs and increase our savings. And it doesn't have to be some big dramatic change either. It can be as simple as cutting back on those impulse purchases or finding ways to reuse and repurpose what we already have. Another key aspect of applying Buddhist principles to modern money management is setting realistic financial goals. You see, it's not about trying to get rich quick or keeping up with the Joneses. It's about creating a balanced, sustainable plan that aligns with your values and priorities. And there are so many great tools out there now that can help with this, like budgeting apps and online resources. To be honest, one of the most powerful things about Buddhist financial teachings is the emphasis on community and generosity. In a world that often feels so individualistic and competitive, there's something really refreshing about the idea of sharing resources and supporting each other, whether it's joining a local bartering group, participating in a community garden, or even just helping out a friend in need. These small acts of kindness can add up to big savings and a greater sense of connection. Let me give you a real-life example. I have this friend who was really struggling to make ends meet, despite working long hours at a job she hated. She was stressed, burned out, and felt like she was just treading water financially. But then she started incorporating some of these Buddhist principles into her life. She downsized to a smaller apartment, started cooking more meals at home, and even joined a local time bank where she could trade her skills for things she needed. And you know what? It completely transformed her relationship with money. She felt more in control, more fulfilled, and more connected to her community. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed by modern financial pressures, I really encourage you to give these Buddhist secrets a try. Start small, be patient with yourself, and remember that true wealth isn't just about the numbers in your bank account. It's about living a life that's aligned with your values and brings you a sense of purpose and joy. Trust me, when you start seeing money as a means to the end rather than the end itself, it can be a total life changer. If you want to dive deeper into tackling modern problems, you've got to check out my video on 8 things I'm not buying in 2024. There I list the 8 things I stopped buying this year to simplify my life while saving up to $5,000 by the end of the year.